Ben Flemming, who is a sport reporter with Metro UK. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us on the show.
Hi guys, pleasure to be with you.
I'm very good, thank you. It's Boxing Day action. We're able to unbox gifts for some teams that went up with win in the Premier League. But for other teams, they were able to unbox something very, very crucial. Maybe an eye-opener for them going into the next phase of the league into next year. Or would have big decisions been made, especially managerial decisions. What manager will have to stay going into 2025. But looking at the games played on Boxing Day, which of them caught your interest more?
Well, the game I was watching closely was Man United versus Wolves.
I'm sure Man United.
It's I think a lot of Man United fans, when Amorim came in on paper, I think they were hoping that he might be able to get this team moving in the right direction a bit quicker. But that's now 3 defeats in a row. That's now 5 defeats in their last 7 in all competitions. I think it's their worst. It's the worst start by a new manager since 1932. So I think if Amorim wasn't aware of the task at hand, he certainly is now. And you talk about managers who need a good start to the new year. They've got Tottenham and Liverpool and Arsenal, I believe, in their next 3. So there's tough games to come for them, and they really could do with a good result.
All right, so you brought Manchester United to the fore in this conversation, but with their poor form this season, how much blame, or should we even blame Erik ten Hag's legacy and his recruitment choices? Or the choices, is it opposed to the broader structural issues from the club? Because we've heard a lot, the age cap, the fact that they could not even get more players. They could not, there's a bit of indiscipline, as they say, because we've not heard Rashford put in the squad for a very long time under Amorim. So is this all about the choices made by Erik ten Hag? Is this what is taking a toll on Manchester United and your poor form?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not Amorim's fault. I mean, he's only just come in. I think the key decision for them that they got wrong was not sticking with their guns and deciding to sack Ten Hag in the summer. You know, there was a lot of reports saying that he was going to be sacked before the FA Cup final. And obviously, after he won the FA Cup final, they stuck with him. And it was another bad summer. And I think really the time to act would have been to, even though they won the FA Cup, to get rid of him, to bring in a new manager. He would have then had the summer to bring in his players, because now Amorim's got a squad that doesn't really suit the way he wants to play. He's going to have to wait 6 months till the summer. There's going to be no Champions League football again. So it's going to be difficult to attract, the real top players that they want. So I think certainly Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the new owners, I think that is definitely a decision they got wrong, was to give Ten Hag the start of the season, because that's probably set them back, well, probably best part of a season in terms of having to turn that squad over again in the summer, and that really will delay them even further.
All right, was Ten Hag's sacking a poor decision made by Ineos? You just mentioned Ineos. I know that you just said that the fact that they left his sacking to take too long, even in the summer, really took a toll. But was his sacking a poor decision? Did his sacking make the whole thing worse? Or the timing of his eventual sacking, did he make the whole thing about Manchester United form, did it make it worse?
Well, I think he definitely had to go when he was sacked. I don't think there was any. He'd been there now for 2 seasons, and I don't think there was any tangible signs that the team was getting better. So I don't think it was the wrong decision to sack him, but I think it probably should have been done, as I said, in the summer after the FA Cup final rather, and then give the new manager, whether that had been Amorim or whether that had been a different manager who they could have attracted in the summer. I know Thomas Tuchel was a name that was rumoured. It would have been better to give that new manager a summer rather than sacking Ten Hag, 10 games into the season, and then Amorim arrives and he's not got a transfer window, he's not got a pre-season, and it just gives the new manager even more challenges. As you say, there's already plenty of challenges with that squad that some of the players are aging. Some like Marcus Rashford clearly have got their eyes on a move, and it just seems like United have been in transition for years and years, and it's just going to take that little bit more longer now.
All right, I would like to put you on the spot, Ben. I'm wondering why the English press, they're not calling out Ineos like they did to the Glazers, especially at this time when they never gave the Glazers peace at all. I remember at that time there were a lot of chants, the fans coming up with placards saying the Glazers out. Why is the English press not reporting this? Why are they not calling out Ineos out? They remain mute at the moment, even with the present form of Manchester United.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think you're starting to see in a few reports that Ineos have come under question for the decision to stick with Ten Hag. I think there's certain stuff off the pitch that Ineos have come into question for. I know there was the cutting of the staff Christmas party. There was bonuses to do with the FA Cup final last year that they cut. There was, even this week, there was reports saying that they'd got rid of a raffle, a £50 raffle that they used to give out to the matchday stewards after the game. Yeah. So I think there's definitely a notion from some bits of the media and from some bits of the fans that are beginning to wonder whether, Ratcliffe is sort of cutting costs in the wrong way. He's cutting costs there, but then he can also spend 20 million to pay out Erik Ten Hag's contract. So,
but what do you say?
It's still early
what do you
days.
say about that action of cutting costs? Is he cutting costs in the wrong way? Is this taking a toll on what the players are bringing to the fore on the pitch of play?
I don't know whether it so much affects the performance on the pitch, but it probably just contributes to this wider feeling of a club that, Manchester United are the biggest club in England, probably the biggest club in the world, and it just contributes to this feeling that they are a fallen giant. And you look at the way that Liverpool and Chelsea operate with their spending. Even someone like Tottenham, who clearly aren't as big a club historically as Man United, but they've got this new stadium and all the money that they have. I think it just contributes to this wider feeling that United are just still not being run as well as they could be, given the amount of money they bring in from sponsorships and merchandise sales and all the revenue associated with the club. I just think there's a feeling that things could still be run a lot better. But as you say, I think people will begin to wise up to that and probably start to ask a few more questions of Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe if things don't improve on the pitch.
Yes, I'm hoping that they can bring the same vibe they gave the Glazers to Ineos, because I don't see the difference right now with how things have been run at Manchester United. Let's leave Manchester United a bit and talk Chelsea at this time. After strings of poor results for Chelsea, could Chelsea's current form indicate that they are not as far off from competing in the top as initially thought by a lot of people? Or, Ben, are there deeper issues lurking beneath their performance, even after that loss yesterday?
I think it probably reinforces what Enzo Maresca said. He's been very clear when people have asked him, week on week, are Chelsea in the title race? Are you contenders? He's always said, no, look, this is a young squad. I've only just arrived in the summer, and this is going to take time. They're still only 7 points off Liverpool. Okay, Liverpool have got a game in hand, but I don't think this is a result to get too concerned about. Fulham are a very good side in their own right. They held Arsenal. They've played some very good games against the top teams in the division. So I think that for Chelsea, it's a disappointing result, especially given they were leading for a lot of the game. But I think if you'd have told most Chelsea fans at the start of the season you're going to be in second place by the end of the year, I think they would have taken that very happily. So I think the start Enzo Maresca's made has been very positive, and I don't think one performance changes that too much.
But Ben, I must reveal to you that fans in Nigeria here are already bragging, saying, oh, we're in second place, so we're up for the title, in contention for the title already. But I feel it's too early to say, oh, with this performance, they might be at the top before the final rounds of matches in this season. What do you say? Is Chelsea in contention for the title? Is it too early to decide that?
I definitely think that they're one of the teams in contention. I think the start we've seen from Arne Slot and Liverpool. I think they really are becoming the runaway favourites. They've got that game in hand, as you can see on the screen now. If they win that game, they then go 10 points clear of Chelsea. So they really are in a commanding position. But as we've seen many a time in the league, we're still so early, and things can change so quickly. you think about the injury that Arsenal just got to Saka. If something were to happen to, Mohamed Salah or Trent Alexander-Arnold or Virgil van Dijk, one of those key players, Liverpool can very easily, lose a couple of games on the spin. I think this is a Premier League that, the bottom half of the league is so competitive and able to take points off those top teams. So I think Chelsea are still very much in contention. I think, they're certainly not the favourites, but I think there's no reason that they can't stick around Liverpool. And yeah, it will probably take Liverpool having a poor run of form and falling a bit back. But
can Liverpool
I think
have a
Chelsea
poor run of
fans
form?
should still.
I beg your pardon. Can Liverpool, can they drop the ball? Well, you have confidence that they can go all out.
I think they definitely can. I think at this moment they look very solid. They're winning a lot of games and coming back impressively when they go behind. But we've still got the best part of 20 games to play this year, and Liverpool have still got to play a lot of the big teams away from home and at home. So I think they're the heavy favourites, but I think there's no reason to suggest that this form will go on forever, and no doubt they will have bumps in the road where they'll drop points. But I think it's going to be difficult for the chasing pack at the minute, the way that Liverpool are playing.
It's football. Anything can happen, they say. Let's talk about Manchester City right now. Defending champions who have been having a poor run of form. They got a point against the best defense in Europe. Ben, do you agree with me that this team they face have got the best defense in Europe?
Well, they've certainly, put on a few good performances in recent weeks. They've got draws against, I think it's Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester City in consecutive weeks. So, everyone knows that Sean Dyche and his Everton side are a tough team to beat. But
Indeed.
I think that Manchester City would have fancied their chances at home, and for them it's now 5 games without a win after that win against Nottingham Forest. And I don't think anyone could have predicted it to go on for as long as this. And I think at this point, Manchester City fans have got to be thinking that is top 4, just the realistic aim for this season. Even that feels like a bit of an ask at the minute, because they're now, 5 points off the top 4. So they've really got to focus to make sure that they get Champions League football.
All right, Manchester City did get to share those spoils, but they were booed by their fans at home. These fans were the same who celebrated them when they won back-to-back titles. So just one slip and they get booed. I'm wondering what's really happening with the fans. But Tottenham Hotspur, they are a bigger nut to crack. 16-game unbeaten run came for Boxing Day, came to an end. Of course, a halt yesterday in that loss they got. But what do you think will get the axe? What do you think will be shown the exit door faster going into 2025? Pep Guardiola, is it possible, or Ange Postecoglou?
Well, out of those two managers, I think it would be Ange. I think Pep's obviously signed that new contract just a few months back. I know there were fans booing, which I think I agree with you. I don't think that's necessarily very fair, but I think Pep would have to go on quite some run for the board to think that he wasn't the right person. Ange, is in a really tough place. Their defence right now is short of so many players. They lost Dragusin to injury yesterday.
What really happened to Ange? Last season, he was getting back-to-back manager of the month, doing something wonderful for Tottenham Hotspur. Same players he did manage last season is what we're seeing right now, just little minor differences. But at this time, he's not been able to get his act together for Tottenham Hotspur. What is really happening? What changed?
I don't know whether too much has changed. I just think, they're in a really bad moment with injuries. He's made a constant point of that. They're playing Archie Gray at centre-back, who wasn't signed to play at centre-back. They're without their 2 best centre-backs, and Porro's been a bit out of form. But I think really you look at their squad and it's just not deep enough. When they were playing Liverpool last weekend, Liverpool were bringing Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota off the bench, and Tottenham just haven't got that depth even when they have a full squad. So I think the style of football they play is very risky, but I just think it points to a larger issue. I know we talked about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, but I think the Tottenham owners have certainly got something to answer as well in terms of how much they spend on the squad, and I think there needs to be some serious investment in that squad if Ange is going to have success.
All right, we've heard players complain about how the administration has not been able to favour them and their performance on the pitch of play. But at what point will things change? Do we have to see the same treatment given to the Glazers at Manchester United before we see a turnaround at Tottenham Hotspur? Will it get to that level before Steve Level will get what the feeling of what the fans are saying, of what other football enthusiasts are saying about Tottenham Hotspur? What level will it get to before we see the change at Tottenham?
Well, I think there's already beginning to be some unrest. There was a small sort of protest against ENIC, which is the ownership group, before the Liverpool game last weekend. So I think there is a growing feeling that there needs to be more investment. I mean, Tottenham are the most financially secure club in the league. You know, they built this fantastic stadium which hosts American football games, which has got loads of other business opportunities.
With the stadium, the revamp, you'll be expecting beautiful football, beautiful team coming up to play for the team in the English Premier League. But still, we're still seeing the same dwindling farm, the same downslope there for Tottenham Hotspur. So at this point, even do we have to see protests from fans?
I think we will see more of that. You know, January is obviously coming up. You know, the January window. So whether Tottenham dip into the market and can add some reinforcements, I think they have to. But I think next summer is a really big it's a really big summer for them. Yeah. If Ange is still in charge, I think there needs to be a lot of spending there and a lot of ambition shown. Or as you say, I think there will be protests and there will be moves to try and move the club onto owners that are going to be a bit more ambitious with their spending.
All right, I'll be looking forward to what next year will bring for clubs like Tottenham Hotspur. We have been speaking to a sport reporter from Metro UK, Ben Flemming. Thank you so much, Ben. But before I let you go, the final standing at this time after Boxing Day action, what do you think would maybe cause a big surprise, stepping up in the standing of the English Premier League anytime soon? Looking at the standings there, we've got the top 6 being Liverpool, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Newcastle and Bournemouth. But we've got the likes of Manchester City, Fulham, Aston Villa, Brighton, Tottenham Hotspur, Brentford, West Ham, Manchester United. They sit at that position. For the very first time, they've not gone lower, below the half, but we are seeing them below the half of the table there. Everton sit at 15th, and we've got the relegation zone having Southampton, Ipswich and Leicester City. So what do you think will cause a surprise stepping up, being moved up in the table?
Well, it's a tricky one. I really like the look of Fulham. I think obviously they had that good result against Chelsea. I think they've got a really settled squad. If they can keep their main squad together in January and that they're able to keep their best players, I really think that they can push up and really sort of contest in those European places. Maybe not Champions League, but I think definitely the Europa League and the Conference League. I think Fulham could be the team to watch in the second half of the season.
Yes, indeed. I support you on that because we've got Alex Iwobi on another level for Fulham, and he's been delivering well for Fulham this season. Oh, thank you so much, Ben Flemming. It's been an interesting conversation with you. We're hoping that all this put together, we'll see a little bit of changes going into the new year for the English Premier League.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good new year.
You too. Compliments of the season.